Hey folks, Happy New Year and welcome to the Sedona Canyons 125 2025. Many of you have been already planning out your details for your race and wondering why our runner guide and the course for 2025 have not yet been announced. Well, thank you for your patience. We are now rolling it out. The reason for that has been we've been working with the Forest Service to work out all the nitty-gritty details for the changes that we have for this year. The 125 course has changed substantially, although the main backbone of the route goes along the same path. We've departed away from a lot of Forest Service roads and onto amazing single track. So it's actually, I think, a much better course than we've ever had for the 125. And it used to be amazing, so it's now even amazinger. So again, thanks for your patience. The reason for all these changes is that the Sedona Canyons course goes through a number of sensitive wildlife areas. One of those is the cliff rose. Arizona cliff rose is a threatened species of plant. It's in the Verde Valley area over by Dead Horse, so we pass through there. Cross Oak Creek, which is a perennial water source through the desert, and a really unique ecosystem that is home to many endangered and threatened species. So that's a very sensitive place that we used to cross, Oak Creek. And then up on the Mogollon Rim, Coconino Plateau, the Mexican spotted owl. So there's a number of, and this is the main one for us. That's an impact to the course. So the Mexican spotted owl is a endangered species of owl. You can see the mating pair here, and then the fledglings on the right, the mating pair on the left and the fledglings on the left. So these endangered species of owls build nests in the early spring, and their fledglings hatch in late April, early May, so right when we're coming through. So we need to do everything we can to try to minimize our impact on this endangered species of owl. So that's the change, the reason for the majority of these changes, which we're going to go through now. So this episode is really to focus on the new updated course that we have. I'm going to go through from start to finish the entire course, but really focus in on those changes. So from leaving Sedona on to the finish line, it's a very different course. We do kind of climb up the same direction. We go through the forest up in the Coconino Plateau, the Mogollon Rim, the same route, and then we kind of come into Heritage Square, same finish line, but from a different route, from the west side of Flagstaff. So we're going to go through all those changes now. So the 125 route starts at the Gold King Mine ghost town. It is the base of the old Gold King Mine, or the United Verde Mine. A really cool place for a start line. There's not many other start lines where you start in a huge the open pit of a mine. So that's a really cool place to start. You quickly run into Jerome, which is one of the coolest towns in Arizona, perched right on the hillside, looking out over your journey ahead of you, which is across the Verde Valley into Sedona, and then climbing up onto the plateau, and with the San Francisco peaks behind you. So you're looking across from your start across the Verde Valley with these red rock monoliths of Sedona, and up onto the plateau with the snow-capped peaks behind you. It's some pretty incredible views right from your start at sunrise. There, passing through and leaving Jerome. We cross you guys are going to cross the Verde Valley, the Verde River really quick at about mile 9, and then come into your first aid station at Dead Horse Ranch State Park. From there, it's a climb, and this is the area where we're going through the Arizona cliff rose, which is a threatened species of plant. And so we have a couple of no passing zones through here because we have to make sure we stick to the trail to make sure there's no impact on the cliff rose. So from this area here, you're on the Lime Kiln Trail. Really great single track stretch, and you kind of like come up over a rise and get a view of Sedona. And then the next rise you come over, you get a better view of Sedona. And then the next rise is even better. So it's just increasingly amazing as you head northeast out of Cottonwood and head towards Sedona. Deer Pass is the aid station where you kind of like are officially entering the Sedona area. And from here, the trails just get mind-bogglingly good. A few years ago, we changed up the course to kind of dip down towards Oak Creek and then climb up the Ridge Trail. This trail is pretty spectacular. The views, behind you and all around you towards Cathedral Rock and all of these amazing monoliths it's just incredible. So I could go on and on, but I will not. So the 250 course, you're on the same route with the 250 runners up until this point. You start at the halfway point for the 250, and you're doing basically the halfway point to the finish line. At this point, you divert from the 250 course. So we go around Airport Mesa, which is actually the course. This little section along Airport Mesa was our original course in 2021, and it hasn't been part of the course since then. It's really a unique single track here, really rocky, technical single track, but the views you get southeast to the buttes along the southeast side of Sedona are really awesome. So that's a great add back into the race there. Drop down off of Airport Mesa onto Brewer Road and go to a new aid station for us. So this is the Sedona Ranger Station aid station. So it's the historic, from the 50s, the historic Forest Service Ranger Station, which is now converted into a city park for the city of Sedona. I will say there are two aid stations in Sedona. One is for the 250 and one's for the 125. So the 250 is the Sedona Posse Grounds Park, where the 125 used to go through, and the 250 still does go through. The 125 now, you guys are going to route around Airport Mesa and then drop down into what we're calling Sedona Ranger Station aid station. So it's a really cool new city park for the city of Sedona. Jump into kind of the backside of the kind of the heart of the vortex of Sedona, cross Highway 179 in a crosswalk, and then jump onto Schnebly Hill Road. So Schnebly Hill Road is your climb up onto the Coconino Plateau or the Mogollon Rim. In the past, we came to that old aid station, Sedona Posse Grounds Park, passed through kind of the north area of Sedona on all this great single track, crossed under the Midgley Bridge and crossed Oak Creek. So that, and then from there climbed up Kasner Canyon to get up onto the rim. That we're really sad to lose those trails and the Kasner Canyon Trail and the crossing of Oak Creek. All that was really iconic to the race. Hate to lose it, but what we get is really great in return. So when we leave Sedona, we climb up Schnebly Hill Road for just a little bit before jumping on to the Munds Wagon Trail. So Munds Wagon Trail is an awesome single track that climbs up this canyon. And then the 250 runners continue. You're back on the 250 course kind of once you jump out of Sedona to climb Schnebly Hill Road. The 250 course stays on that Munds Wagon Trail. You guys get the special treat of jumping on to the Hangover Trail. The Hangover Trail is a hard, technical desert single track climbing up Schnebly Hill, but it is just amazing to be kind of in these spires, going right in between these spires and drainages, and looking out into, across Sedona and up Oak Creek. It's really pretty special. This trail through here is incredible. So jump back onto Munds Wagon Trail and then pop out at the water station up at the top of Schnebly Hill. So this is where the old course popped out of single track and onto Schnebly Hill Road. Same water station location. just bumped out a little bit onto that trailhead, and then you're climbing up and reunited with the old course, climbing up Schnebly Hill Road. This is a really, kind of gentle Forest Service, well graded Forest Service road, all the way to our new aid station at Foxboro Ranch. So last year the course crossed under I-17 and went to the Schnebly Hill aid station. We bumped that back in order to be away from some pairs of Mexican spotted owl nests to the Foxboro Ranch aid station. This is a really beautiful aid station. Happy to bring it to Foxboro Ranch. It's a really cool and historic aid station that we've got at Foxboro Ranch. So as you will see from Foxboro Ranch, it is a dashed line all the way to Crystal Point. So we do have a shuttle for you guys from Foxboro Ranch to the Crystal Point trailhead. So the reason for that is all through this kind of Schnebly Hill to Munds Park area, there are tons of nesting pairs of Mexican spotted owls. So we went through with the Forest Service and looked at each nest site and tried to determine the best route for the 250 and the 125 and the 39-mile distances to avoid as many of those nests as we could. So since they're just so packed in this area, we had to do a skip here. So the 250 continues through, but we could only allow 250 runners or 250 people to go through here. So the 250 milers don't get pacers through this section, and unfortunately you guys have to take a shuttle and skip this section. So the feedback we got last year from runners skipping this section in the shuttle was that they kind of enjoyed the little rest that they got in the shuttle, and then they were happy to keep running afterwards. So we ran it really well. We stop your time. You have to check out, and we stop your time at Foxboro Ranch at the start of your shuttle. When you get off the shuttle, you check back in at the Crystal Point trailhead, and your time of the race starts again. So we don't hold that shuttle time against you, because it might be different times for that shuttle for different people. You can jump in with your crew or another runner's crew to get shuttled, or we will also, Aravaipa will have a shuttle, continuously operating shuttle that goes between those two locations. So if you did run with us last year, the Foxboro Ranch is a new aid station. We were at Schnebly Hill, and then the restarting location for you guys is also a new location. We used to be at the Pinewood Country Club in Munds Park. Now we're up at the Crystal Point trailhead. So different locations for both of those shuttle starting and ending points. Okay, so after you've ridden the shuttle over to Crystal Point, you're going to start running again on, this is really great single track, basically from Crystal Point here all the way to Fort Tuthill and really beyond, is for this course is pretty much entirely single track, which is different than it has been in previous years. A lot of this section was forest roads in previous years. And because we've had to change up the route and try to avoid as many of these Mexican spotted owl nesting sites, we actually were able to put you guys onto a bunch of just really great single track, which we'll get into that here in just a minute. Okay, so one thing to note about the GPX file, as you'll see if you are going in to dial in the route or eventually download this route for the race, there's a Sedona Canyons 125A, which is this first section, which is 52 miles from the start to Foxboro Ranch. And you got Sedona Canyon B 125B, which is from Crystal Point to your finish line in Flagstaff at Heritage Square, and that's 73 miles. So that makes up your 125-mile course. It's pretty much right on the nose, which I'm really proud about. 125.00. At least for now. I'm stoked about that. But anyway, so that's in two parts. So you've got a GPX file A and a GPX file B. So last year we found that many of you had troubles downloading two files at once into your phone or your watch. So I've made a third option, which is Sedona Canyons 125 joined. So that takes those first two segments and this dashed line which is a combined route. Some of you may find that your watch or phone doesn't like this straight line connection without any changing elevation. So there's two options there. You can either have two separate files for the A and B, or one file that's joined. There's three files there, A, B, and joined. So if you have questions on that, feel free to shoot me an email, but hopefully that's clear. Okay, so once you get out of the shuttle at the Crystal Point trailhead, that's not necessarily an aid station. It's a restart location, so you should get all of the aid that you need at Foxboro Ranch, and then when you're ready to start running again, take that shuttle. It's a just less than 15-minute shuttle, and then get out and start running from Crystal Point. We will have a little bit of aid for you there, but it's very minimal. So it's basically a time to get out and run once you get out of your shuttle. This single track stretch on the north side of Munds Park is really good single track. It's the start of a basically 48-mile stretch to Fort Tuthill of amazing single track. So at the end of that little 6-mile stretch, you'd pop out onto some paved roads here in Munds Park to take you into the new aid station on the west side of I-17, the new Munds Park aid station. So the new Munds Park aid station is at the Munds Park Community Church, and that's where you join back with the 250 route. So the 250 route is coming down. They're actually, you'll pass them in the shuttle. They're coming down the hill, pass right by your restart location, but they're on pavement all the way into Munds Park, and then you'll join them here at the Munds Park aid station. So back with the 250 course. Leave the church out the backside and jump back onto the Forest Service, and then take a little creek bed underpass to go back on the east side of I-17 and get into the Kelly Canyon trail system. So the 250 splits off from you here. From this route, from this point on to Fort Tuthill, you're kind of changing sides with the 250 a lot. So the 250 will be kind of over on your east. They're on Forest Service roads. You guys are on awesome single track to Kelly Canyon. Then the 250 will be on your west, and you guys are heading out onto the Kelly Canyon trails to the east. So just kind of flip-flop back and forth and be alongside the 250, but you guys get the better end of the deal. This single track is really great through here. It's a mix of kind of that Mogollon Rim, chunky volcanic rock, technical single track to nice pine bed, soft single track running through. And these are motorized trails. They're for dirt bikes, but you can't. They're not torn up. They're in great shape, and they actually translate really well into running trails. So all through the forest here, you're up in the Ponderosa Pine to Kelly Canyon. Leaving Kelly Canyon, you're with the 250 for just a second, and then you jump back onto the Kelly Canyon system of trail into the Homestead aid station. This is a new aid station for us, and then continue on the amazing Kelly Canyon trail. So this is just a huge swath of awesome single track for you guys. I will note that Kelly Canyon and Homestead aid stations are no crew or pacer access. So if you do have pacers joining you in this race, you're going to have to get your stud to join you from Munds Park all the way to Fort Tuthill. That is a 40-mile stretch where you cannot change pacers. So get your A pacer for that section. They get an awesome stretch of 40 miles of single track. But yeah, that's a long stretch. There are 2 aid stations, but again, they're not crew or pacer access aid stations. Coming into Fort Tuthill, that is your next place where you can see your crew and pacers. And I did fail to mention that this Crystal Point aid station, or drop-off point rather, is the first place where you can have pacers join you. So that's at mile 52. Yes, Foxboro Ranch and Crystal Point have the exact same mileage. You stop running at Foxboro Ranch, 51.9 miles. You start running again at Crystal Point Trailhead, 51.9. They are the same mileage. So yes, I'm going to get a ton of questions on, you guys messed up that mileage. It's the same at these two aid stations, and yeah, that's the way it is. So you do have pacers that can join you. This is like a 6.5 mile stretch between Crystal Point and Munds Park, and then that 40-mile stretch without pacer swaps all the way into Fort Tuthill. Okay, Fort Tuthill brings you into kind of the entrance of Flagstaff. From Fort Tuthill, we've got a little bit of change in the aid station if you're familiar with the race. In the past, crews have parked out to the north of the aid station in this huge gravel parking area. The aid station is in here in the quad of Fort Tuthill County Park. The park is actually having you guys drive into the quad, and you can park your cars in here and support your runners as they come through. So if you're going to support your runner, you cannot park out here. You have to drive in to support them in the quad here. It's actually going to be a really cool feeling to have all the cars in there in the quad. Okay, leaving Fort Tuthill, you head north on Soldier Trail, and then this is all Fort Tuthill County Park. These are all great single track trails. Leaving Fort Tuthill, you jump onto a Forest Service road for just a couple of miles, heading out towards Woody Mountain, and you jump onto the Rogers Lake Connector Trail. Again, awesome single track through here. You're very likely going to see elk through this stretch here. The elk really like to hang out, in this area in here. So again, awesome. It's some of the best single track you'll find in terms of quality in Flagstaff. So great single track, which leads you kind of into a power line corridor coming into the west side of Flagstaff. So you're just jumping into and passing through town on the west side of town here. You see where the finish line is in downtown Flagstaff. We're passing through on kind of west Flagstaff. Jump under the interstate on this is part of the Futz Trail. You're on sidewalk and pavement through here. We have ADOT, the Flagstaff ADOT office, as an aid station. I don't know why it tickles me so much that I have permitted with ADOT for this race for years now, but now I'm sticking them with an aid station. So I don't know. The ADOT as an aid station probably doesn't mean anything to you, but it's funny to me. So there you go. So again, on city streets, on sidewalks through here until we pass under the BNSF Railroad via the Futz Trail underpass there, and then we pass out of the city of Flagstaff and back onto the forest. This is Mars Hill, so it's a climb up on some more awesome single track. The Lowell Observatory is up here, so it's Observatory Mesa or Mars Hill. This single track is really great. You feel like you're way far outside of town, climbing up onto this rim. You do get some views of town, but for the most part, you feel really isolated on this great single track. Once you get up onto the top of Mars Hill through here, you have some great views kind of across Flagstaff at the cinder hills that were left over from the volcanic eruption 1,000 years ago. Really cool features. And as you turn kind of to go north on Mars Hill and Observatory Mesa, you get awesome views of Mount Eldon, which we don't get to run up and over this year, but arguably the course is so good that I think you guys will enjoy looking at it instead of going up and over it. And then as you kind of crest over Mars Hill, you get some great views of the San Francisco peaks, probably still covered in snow by the time you're coming through. So just really great swaths of single track all over the place on this course. Super stoked what the change of this course allowed us to do with the trails that it put us on. So coming down off of Observatory Mesa, again, great single track, dropping down into town. This is, again, the Futz Trail. It's the Karen Cooper urban trail. It goes kind of along the drainage here of Rio de Flag coming in on the other side of town. And instead of dropping in from Buffalo Park, you're on the Karen Cooper Trail, which I think is actually a cooler way to come into downtown than previously. And then quickly you jump off of that trail after crossing a bunch of intersections. You're like on trail, intersection, trail, intersection. It's a really cool urban trail. Before you jump on with the 250 course on Beaver Street, and then you take your last left onto left on Birch, which has become a famous, infamous turn, and then right into Heritage Square. So that's your course. It's right on the nose of 125 miles. Again, substantial changes from previous years, but in my opinion, you just have an even better race than you've had in previous years. So thanks again for bearing with us as we worked out all the details, the nitty-gritty details with the Forest Service, but now the course is posted. The runner guide is posted. We've actually done some work to shrink up the runner guide, make it more concise, and then we added a runner or a pacer and crew guide. So you'll see that as well. Feel free to email me with any questions you have at steve@aravaiparunning.com. Can't wait to see you in May. Happy training. We're going to have a bunch of these Cocodona info sessions, Sedona Canyons 125 info sessions leading into the race to give new runners to the race, new runners to the distance, some educational pieces as well as talk about all the cool happenings of the race and all the race updates. So stay tuned in the future for those info sessions. We can't wait to see you at the start line in May. Happy training and happy running. Thanks.